Do you understand that?
No.
You're
Yes, ma'am.
You're not going to residence or workplace. If you have personal belongings there, you can go back with police escort to get your belongings.
Understood.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Seeker.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, thank you.
Next person. Next person. Next person. Next. What's the name?
I'm good. So,
Right here. For now, have a seat.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you are.
I'm Nicole Waters.
Ms. Waters. I think
Yes.
you with domestic violence threats
Yeah.
earlier today in the vicinity of what was your residence.
I'm sorry. What was that?
In the vicinity of what appeared to have been your residence. Your next,
Yes.
your next court date on this is going to be October the 23rd at 10:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court. Conditions of release will include no acts of domestic violence, no firearms or weapons, including knives, no contact with your mother. You don't go to your mother's residence or workplace. And you need to see about getting a behavioral health assessment and beginning a recommended treatment. Do you understand that?
Yes. I'm already in all of that kind of jazz, like therapy, and I have a recovery coach and all that jazz. So what do I? How do I?
What
do I
agency
do?
you're with?
I'm Marana Healthcare. My recovery coach name is Maria Sanchez, and then my therapist name is Chelsea.
Well, you need to talk to them and you need to comply with your treatment.
Okay. Is there do I need to give them any information or any of that
I
jazz?
suggest you let them know what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Am I gonna get something in the mail?
No, you're getting
To give me-
something, you're going to get something before you leave the building.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know what I do now. So.
This one.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Asky, line,
Mr. Askew. Citations charging you with 2 counts of domestic violence disorderly conduct alleged to have occurred early this morning.
so this, you said this order of conduct?
Yes.
Okay,
Your next court date on this is going to be October the 29th at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Tucson City Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
yes, ma'am, I'll be there.
You're not to commit any acts of domestic violence, possess any firearms or weapons, have any contact with Tironi or Terrence. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to go back to their residence. If you have personal belongings there, you can go back once with a law enforcement officer to get your personal belongings. Thank you, Mr. Askew.
Well,
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and yes, sir.
Christopher Lopez.
Mr. Lopez, citation
Yes, ma'am.
charging you with domestic violence assault and 3 counts of domestic violence disorderly conduct alleged to have occurred, looks like about 6 days ago.
Yes, correct.
Your next court date is October the 29th at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Tucson City Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to commit any acts of domestic violence. You're not to possess any firearms. You need to turn 2 firearms over to the Tucson Police Department by Wednesday. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I only have 1 firearm in possession. I don't have 2 firearms in possession.
What firearm do you have?
I have a 9mm.
You don't have a 22
That's-
caliber?
No, I do not.
All right, I'll trust you on that and make it 1 firearm.
Yes, ma'am.
But be sure you show up in court and there's no further incidents. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade and you are.
Randall, right?
Mr. Wright, I have a number of things here for you. I have charges that go back to April of 2020, April 30th, 2021, for shoplifting, along with several failures to appear.
Oh.
Charges for shoplifting on April the 2nd of 2022 and criminal trespass. Looks like you failed to appear multiple times on that as well. Charges from February 3rd of 2020 for possession of paraphernalia and criminal littering, along with multiple failures to appear. And charges from July 7th of 2020 for possession of paraphernalia and multiple failures to appear. We'll appoint City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. Bond will be $100. If you post the bond, your court date will be October 29th at 9 a.m. Haven't posted the bond, you'll be seen on October the 1st, that's next Tuesday, at about 1:45, unless your attorney decides to move it based on the status of your superior court hold. But you don't go back to 6360 East Golf Links, 1155 West Irvington, possess any or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. All right, thank you. I figured that I forget to check a box. I fixed it. Good evening, I'm Judge Shayette and you, sir, are.
Here Arantes.
Okay, that's not who I was expecting, but okay. Mr. Arantes, did council wish to waive reading?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have a warrant here charging you with 6 counts. Your attorney, the attorney who's sitting there with you can go over this with you. We'll set a arraignment date for September 30th at 1:30 in the afternoon. And did either council wish to be heard on conditions?
I do, Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
So it looks like the state's asking for a $300,000 bond and the warrant only requires a $10,000 bond. We'd actually ask that you give him a chance on release. He just got out today to start parole. He has a halfway house he'll be going to that was set up through the Department of Corrections. These are incidents from as old as 2013 ranging to 2016. He hasn't picked up any new charges while being in custody for the last several years.
It'll be a little hard to pick up charges of this nature in custody, but okay.
Any charges, I have clients who pick up charges in custody, Your Honor.
I suspect
he's
of
only-
this nature.
Right, and that's why these are so old. So he's only 30 years old, so we're asking you give him a chance out on pretrial. He's only scoring a level 2. Like I said, he has stable residence. In the alternative, if you are inclined for a bond, then no more than the 10,000 on the warrant.
Anything further from the state?
Your Honor, I I did not note on my recommendation that Mr. Arantes was on parole. I think given the nature of this offense and the nature of Mr. Arantes's priors, the bond rec is appropriate.
Bond will be $10,000. If you post the bond, actually, but that's going to be a cash bond. If you post the bond, you'll be under supervision of pretrial services, no alcohol, illegal drugs, no food. Absolutely no contact with the alleged victims or any minors. You don't go to any schools, parks, playgrounds, or locations where minors gather. Behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment, and you need to comply with parole conditions. Right. Thank you, Mr. Arantes. There it is. I dropped a pen and it vanished. I couldn't find it.
Hello.
Good evening. I'm Judge Fade, and you, sir, are
George Sariosa.
counsel wish to waive reading on this.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Your Honor, I don't think I have anything to add to my recommendation.
And Your Honor, what was the state's recommendation? I'm sorry, I didn't receive that.
The $10,000 bond.
Okay, Your Honor, I would like to be heard on release conditions.
Go right ahead.
Your Honor, we'd request a release on his own recognizance. Mr. Sariosa has absolutely no criminal history whatsoever. Your Honor, he's not a flight risk. We arranged a self-surrender today. He was aware of these charges. He had every opportunity to flee, but it said we worked with the detective. We arranged a self-surrender this morning. Mr. Sariosa has retained private counsel. He has steady employment.
Well,
He
you filed a limited notice of appearance, not a general, so.
Correct. He has steady employment. He works for Raytheon. He's not a flight risk. He has significant ties to the community. And again, he has absolutely no criminal history whatsoever. For all of those reasons, we believe a release on his own recognizance is appropriate.
Does your client have an alternate residence?
Your Honor, the listed residence is his home. My understanding is that the victim in this case is with his mother, so he will not be at that residence.
But there are other children at the residence, and that's not acceptable.
Yeah, but yes, that is correct. His girlfriend does have a minor son. I guess Mr. Sariosa can speak to if he has another residence.
I have a friend that will let me stay at his house for the night and potentially longer if needed.
I was gonna say, it's not just the night.
I had prior discussions with him about it. I believe he will be fine with that. And if need be, I can look into other arrangements.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be October 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. You'll be released to third-party custody of pretrial services. You'll participate in monitoring and treatment or their supervision. That will include no acts of domestic violence. No contact with the alleged victim or any minors except with DCS approval. You don't go near the victim's residence or school. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, as long as there are minors in where you're residing, you're not residing there. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you. And suggest to discuss the matter with anyone except your attorney. Thank you, Mr. Sarias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You may. Good evening. I'm Judge Zayed, and you, sir, are
Daniel Carissimi.
Mr. Chris. Interim complaint charging you with hindering prosecution. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Would either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Your Honor, we'd agree with the state that release to pretrial services is appropriate. This is his first offense. He's only 20 years old. He's scoring a 2 on the NCA scale, a 1 on the FTA scale. He has housing, employment, and he is a full-time student. So given those factors, we believe that pretrial services is appropriate and we concur with the recommendation.
Preliminary hearing date will be October the 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Pima County Justice Court. You'll be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services or participate in monitoring and treatment under their supervision. You will not return to the incident location. You will not have contact with any co-defendants or potential co-defendants except through legal counsel. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And no firearms or weapons. Right, thank you.
Hey,
I'd strongly suggest that you not discuss the matter with anyone except your attorney.
Have a seat here. You have first, me second. You're right.
Hello. Hello.
Spanish speak.
Okay. Hi. Good afternoon. Good night.
Good evening, I'm
Sorry.
Judge Shade, and you are,
Buenas noches, soy la juez Shaden. ¿Cuál es su nombre?
Mi nombre es Edna Leticia Ayala.
My name is Edna Leticia Ayala.
citation here charging you with domestic violence disorderly conduct.
Tengo aquí una petición donde la acusan de violencia doméstica por alteración al orden público.
Sí, sí, su señoría.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
We'll enter your not guilty plea, set a pretrial date of October 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning. You'll
Voy
be,
a presentar una declaración de no culpable. Voy a fijar su audiencia previa al juicio para el 23 de octubre a las 10 de la mañana.
you'll be released.
Yes,
You'll be released on your signature and promised to appear on certain other conditions.
Me van a poner bajo libertad, bajo palabra de comparecer, bajo ciertas condiciones.
Sí, Your Honor.
No
Yes,
acts
Your
of
Honor.
domestic violence.
No debe cometer ningún acto de violencia doméstica.
No
Oh,
contact with
Oh.
with your daughter Ana.
No puede
Oh.
tener contacto con su hija Ana.
You don't go near her residence or her work. You don't go within 2 blocks of her apartment complex.
No debe ir cerca de donde ella vive, no puede estar cerca del trabajo donde ella trabaja, debe mantenerse a una distancia de 2 cuadras del lugar de apartamento de complejo donde ella vive.
If you have personal belongings at her apartment,
Si usted tiene pertenencias, artículos personales dentro del apartamento de ella,
you may,
Yes, Your Honor.
you may go back there one time with a law enforcement officer.
puede,
Gracias.
puede regresar solamente una vez, pero acompañada de un agente del orden público.
to
Thank you, Your Honor.
get that property. If there's a dispute over the property, that's a civil matter and you cannot get it.
I understand now.
Para ir a recoger esos artículos suyos. Si existe una disputa con respecto a esos artículos, ese es un caso civil, entonces usted no debe de llevarse esas cosas.
Entiendo. Yes, Your Honor. I understand.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Lista. Good night. Thank you.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade and you, sir, are
Buenas noches, hola juez Shaden. ¿Y usted cómo se llama, señor?
José Abraham Peña.
José Abraham Peña.
Mr. Pena. Interim complaint charging with possession of narcotic drug for sale.
Señor Peña, aquí una queja interina lo acusa de posesión de un estupefaciente destinado para venta,
Possession of paraphernalia,
posesión de adminículos para el uso de drogas
and 2 counts of misconduct involving weapons.
y 2 cargos de conducta inapropiada con el uso de armas.
1, having a weapon as a prohibited possessor,
1, de tener un arma después de no contar con la autorización de poseer armas.
and 1, having a firearm during a drug offense.
Y 1, de haber tenido un arma de fuego cuando se comete un delito que tenga que ver con drogas.
Noting the presence of an immigration hold, did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Tomando en cuenta que existe una detención con respecto a asuntos de inmigración, le pregunta a la juez, a los 2 abogados, si alguien quiere decir algo con respecto a las condiciones de libertad.
Oh, Your Honor.
¿No, su señoría?
And Your Honor, the state is recommending a $7,500 bond due to the nature of the offense.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter could not hear the amount.
7,500.
Thank you. A su señoría, el fiscal recomienda una fianza de 7,500 debido al tipo de delito.
That seems a reasonable bond, so we'll leave the bond at $7,500.
Muy bien, parece ser que esto es una fianza razonable, entonces voy a dejar esa fianza que sea de $7,500.
Post the bond, you'll be notified from pretrial services.
Si paga usted la fianza, entonces debe reportarse con la agencia previos al juicio.
No alcohol or illegal drugs, and no firearms or weapons.
No puede tomar ninguna bebida alcohólica, no puede usar ningún tipo de drogas, ni poseer ningún tipo de arma o arma de fuego.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Oye, una pregunta.
I have one question.
Okay.
Si pago el bono ahorita, ¿no me recoge migración o es chance de que me recoja migración?
If I post bail right now, is immigration going to pick me up or immigration is not going to pick me up?
They have a hold on you, so they will probably pick you up.
Tienen una orden de detención en contra de usted, así que sí, probablemente sí lo van a recoger.
But I can't tell you for certain what they will do.
Pero no le puedo asegurar con certeza qué es lo que ellos van a hacer.
Okay.
Okay.
Your Honor, when was his next court date?
Pregunta cuándo va a ser su próxima audiencia, la abogada.
October the 3rd.
El 3 de octubre.
And public defender appointed?
¿Y ya se nombró a un defensor
Yes.
público? Sí.
That's it. Es todo. That's
Is
it.
that it?
Okay.
Sí.
Okay, muchas gracias. Buenas noches.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Your Honor, may the Spanish interpreter be excused?
You may, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good night. Interpreter is disconnecting.
Good evening, I'm Judge Taylor, and you are.
Cái tên của cô là
Dạ, Hậu Nguyễn.
Hậu Nguyễn.
I have an interim complaint charging you with domestic violence, disorderly conduct with a dangerous instrument.
Đó là cũng như là dùng cái vũ khí để mà hăm dọa người khác đó.
Dạ, tôi đâu có dùng vũ khí gì đâu ạ.
I'm not using any weapon at all, Your Honor.
There is no allegation of a weapon. A dangerous instrument could be gasoline, and something that could light a fire would be considered dangerous instrument.
Có thể là không phải là vũ khí mà cũng có thể là những cái gì mà là cái làm trái này nọ thì cũng là một cái phần không có tốt cho cái hậu quả đó, chứ không phải là phải là vũ khí.
Dạ, thưa tòa, tôi không phải dùng những cái đó để mà làm hại ai ạ.
I'm not going to use anything to hurt anybody, Your Honor.
Well, we'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges.
Thì bây giờ sẽ có một luật sư đại diện cho nó để nói chuyện với cô đó, ok?
And did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Rồi lúc đó mới nói chuyện với cái người bên kia, với cái người luật sư đó.
Your Honor, the allegations in the interim complaint are concerning. I did see on the court list that there's a Title 36 indicator on the court list.
Thì ông này ông không có thấy trên cái vấn đề cái hồ sơ đó, thì để ông nói chuyện với bà tòa coi như thế nào.
Is that correct, Jail?
Yes, that is, Your Honor.
So, Your Honor, with that confirmation, I ask the court to consider that as a factor in setting the release conditions. I believe a bond is appropriate given the concerning nature of the alleged events here.
Ông này thì ông xin cho cái vấn đề tại ngoại hầu tra đó thì có thể đóng một cái số tiền để mình đi ra ngoài, thì để tòa quyết định như thế nào.
Anything further from defense?
Có cái gì
Just a moment, Your Honor.
để bà đó bà coi như thế nào.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd be asking that you release her to the custody of pretrial services. She has housing away from the victim with her sister, and she has support. She is 48 years old with no priors, and that includes misdemeanor or felony, from what I can tell. She's a 1 on both scales, and with the Title 36, it sounds like, according to the jail, she'll be transferred to the CRC if you release her to pretrial services, which seems like what she needs most at this point.
Thì cái bà này bà nói đó là không cần, tại ở đó giờ cô chưa có bị một cái tội tình gì để mà buộc tội cô hết. Thành ra bà này bà xin trên tòa đó là thả cô ra, phải có thể là sẽ cho cô đi học một cái lớp nào đó. Bây giờ để chờ tòa quyết định như thế nào.
Dạ, cảm ơn.
Please, Your Honor.
Anything further from the state?
Your Honor, if the court was inclined to release pretrial services with the knowledge that she would be transferred to the CRC, I think that could be appropriate.
Thì bên công tố nói là có thể là sẽ chuyển cô qua ngoài đó, cũng như là bên công tố nó không cần phải buộc tội cô.
Dạ, nếu được như vậy tôi xin đội ơn.
Yes, please, you help me with that. Really appreciate it.
Right. Preliminary hearing date is going to be on October the 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon.
14 tháng 10 đó. 1:30 đó. Tôi phải ra tòa đó.
You're going to be released to the third party.
Ngày nào? Dạ, ngày nào ạ?
14 tháng 10, chút xíu nữa sẽ có cái tờ giấy cho cô, ok? Cô sẽ cầm cái tờ giấy đó là biết lúc nào mình ra tòa đó. Chút xíu nữa có tờ giấy. Yes.
You are going to be released to the third party custody of pretrial services.
Tòa sẽ thả cô ra đó, cái ngày hôm nay đó.
Dạ, xin cảm ơn.
Yes, thanks, Senator.
You will participate in monitoring and treatment as they direct.
Thì cũng như là trên cái vấn đề cái giấy tờ nó sẽ nói rõ ràng sẽ làm những cái gì đó. Nghe tên cái tờ giấy đó.
You will have no contact with your children except with DCS approval.
Không có được liên lạc với mấy đứa nhỏ nha, ngoại trừ có sự chấp thuận của bên welfare, còn không thì không được liên lạc với mấy đứa nhỏ.
Yes.
You will not go to their residence, work or school.
Không có được lần tới nhà, tới gần nhà hoặc là tới trường học.
You can go back with a police escort to get your personal belongings.
Có thể là trở về nhà để mà lấy những cái quần áo này nọ, nếu mà đi theo cảnh sát nó sẽ đưa về nhà cho lấy quần áo nếu mà cần thiết.
Yeah.
You to possess
Yes.
no gasoline in containers other than motor vehicles.
Ok, không có được bỏ gas hay là cái gì ở trong cái xe hết trơn nha. Ok.
Yeah.
Yes.
You to possess no lighters,
Không có được quyền cái bật lửa nữa.
matches,
Yes.
Không có được cái quẹt diêm.
or any other
Yeah.
devices that can start a fire.
Mấy cái dụng cụ nào mà có thể bật lửa lên được là không được quyền đụng tới nha.
Yeah.
And you'll
Yes.
participate in the behavioral health assessment and recommended treatment.
Thì bắt đầu nó sẽ đưa qua cái chương trình đó để mà học cái lớp đó.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Nian.
Rồi đó, xong rồi đó.
Dạ, xin cảm ơn ạ. Dạ,
Thank
có
you.
một câu hỏi được không ạ?
Can I have a question, Your Honor?
Certainly.
Rồi nói đi.
Dạ, tôi có thể trở về nhà sau cái buổi này đúng không ạ?
Can I come back, to come back to the house after this?
Not while this is pending unless your conditions of release are changed.
Thì bây giờ phải chờ thôi, chờ để coi là bắt đầu nó sẽ cho biết là cái ngày giờ nào sẽ được đi về nhà, ok?
Dạ.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So thank you. May I excuse, Your Honor?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello,
Good evening, I'm Judge Shayad and you are,
Billy Dean Brackett.
you want to repeat that for me slowly?
Billy Dean Brackett. Michael Brackett. It's not.
I don't have anyone by that name on my list.
Your Honor, this morning, Mr. Hartweiser was continued from this morning. This morning, I think you provided a different name that was also not Hartweiser, just for the court's information.
So is your name Kevin Dean Brettweiser?
No, ma'am. That's not. That's not my social security card. So, or my social security number doesn't match that either. So,
What's your name?
What is your name?
my name is,
Correct name.
well,
Legal name.
my name is Billy Dean Brackett. So,
Is it Billy Dean?
Billy Dean Brackett. Also, Brackett. Yep.
And what's your date of birth?
I don't know my date of birth.
You don't know your date of birth?
I don't know my date of birth.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
Certainly.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
Excuse me, Miss Hunter. My name is Kevin Dean Breitweiser. Okay. I've been called a lot of different names. Obviously, past couple of days ago, this female that has been introduced as my mother said that I wasn't her child, but I'm not sure. Okay, so it just brought up to my attention that that's what she said. A lot of things have changed in my mind.
And
It
what's your date of birth?
10/04/93.
Okay.
So I don't know what that was all about, or my interest level. I kind of feel like it was unnecessary for me to get information. It changed a lot in my mind, and that's a fact. So I apparently found out I was in the military, but I don't know. That's just what I was told, but I don't know. Oh, and head trauma. So a lot of head trauma.
Well, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Your charges are criminal trespass, alleged to have occurred yesterday.
She's just reading them, dude. You don't have to say anything.
So we'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And did either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions?
Your Honor, it looks like the state's recommending pretrial services release. We concur with that recommendation. Doesn't appear he has any priors, no active NBCA flag. So we'd concur with that suggestion.
Your preliminary hearing date will be October 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. You will be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. You'll participate in monitoring and treatment under their supervision, which will include behavioral health assessment and treatment. You won't have contact with alleged victims. You won't go back within 2 blocks of that incident location. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you need help with housing or something like that, the transition center right outside the jail can help you when you're released later. All right, thank you, Mr. Breitweiser.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are?
Mr. Penley,
Mr. Finley, interim complaint charging you with third-degree burglary and possession of narcotics. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Nothing additional.
Your Honor, we'd be asking that you release him to pretrial services. It looks like he does have priors, but his last one is from 2018. He's 52 years old with no active NBCA flag. These are considered nonviolent charges. It looks like he is homeless, but he does have part-time employment. So given those factors, we're asking you release him. If you are inclined for a bond, then no more than a $2,000 bond given his financial situation.
Given his failure to appear history, he's rated as a level 3 or level 4. The bond will be set at $2,500. Preliminary hearing date's October the 3rd at 1:30. No alcohol and legal drugs. You don't go back to Family Dollar Store. If you post the bond, you'll be the distributor of pretrial services. Then I have 3 misdemeanor files for you. Shoplifting charges from September the 12th. The Fries at 2001 East Irvington.
Well,
Citations charging with shoplifting and possession of paraphernalia. 1225 West Irvington on July the 17th, meaning to appear on July the 30th.
wait, there.
And charges for criminal trespass on November 2nd of 2023, along with failures to appear.
Ma'am, I was working at the time and I didn't have a way to make it. I mean, I was either working, eat, and have a roof over my head for the time being, or be on the street.
Well, you need to come to court when you've got a court date. That's the problem.
Where that I wouldn't be able to do anything if I wasn't able to be able to work at least part time. And every chance I get, I try to work. Otherwise, I'm going to end up being about forced to do what I was trying to do when I got caught fucking stealing that prize,
Well, you
which
don't.
I don't like. I'd much rather work.
All right, well, I'll release you on these charges. But you don't go back to that price. You don't go to, I think it's a Target store or 1225 West Irvington. You don't go to 3402 South 6th. No alcohol or illegal drugs. If you're out of custody, your court date will be October 22nd at 9 a.m. You need to be present at that time. If you're still in custody, there'll be a video review on the 21st at about 1:45. All right, thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Oh, big no.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shea and you are
Desiree Montano.
Ms. Montano. Current charges. 2 counts of possession of narcotic drugs. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and at either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions.
No, Your Honor, we agree with the state that she should be released to pretrial services.
It appears that you are eligible to participate in what's called the STEPS SMART program, which could result in a reduction or a dismissal of these charges if you successfully complete the program. It's a treatment program. Are you interested in doing that?
I don't know how that works. It's treatment right after here.
You just have a short report.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
I've been offered that before. That sounds good.
all right. And counsel, time waived for preliminary hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, your next court hearing is going to be on Monday at 9 o'clock, a week from today, 9 o'clock in the morning in Pima County Superior Court.
Okay.
You're going to be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs. Your preliminary hearing date right now is set for November the 14th at 1:30. All right, I also have some misdemeanor files here for you. I have charges that go back to September of 2020. Charges for domestic violence assault and domestic violence disorderly conduct. Your next court date on these is October the 12th. And there's also another charge for 2023 for possession of alcohol in a motor vehicle and failing to appear. Your next court date on these is going to be October the 24th at 9 o'clock in the morning in the Tucson City Court. Your attorney does not represent you on that charge. So your attorney says you don't need to come to court. That doesn't include October 24th. Do you understand that?
Understood.
No alcohol or illegal drugs and no acts of domestic violence. Do you understand that?
Understood.
Right? Thank you.
Thank you.
No, you're good.
gonna give you a number, look up if you would. And I wish I could get into your records, but it doesn't. CR 230-17035 MI. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like an FTA earlier this month. From what pretrial tells me.
Oh, yeah. We scheduled it this Thursday. This is the. I think it said it's felonies because I've had defense on that.
All right. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade and you, sir, are
James Monteaton.
Mr. Monday. Enter a complaint charging with domestic violence, kidnapping and domestic violence aggravated assault. Or aggravated domestic violence will appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and if either counsel wish to be heard on conditions.
Your Honor, given that Mr. Monteaton was on misdemeanor probation for 2 DV cases with the same victim in this case, and the nature of this offense, we believe it's $10,000. And then, okay,
Your Honor, we'd be asking you release him to pretrial services. It sounds like the victim is not going to be staying at their shared residence, and should she want to come back, I'm sure Mr. Monteaton can figure out other housing arrangements. She doesn't object to his release. It looks like she doesn't object to contact, but we wouldn't object to a no contact order. He's a lifelong Tucson resident, which was verified. He has employment. He has no felony priors. He's only 24 years old, Your Honor, and he's a level 1 on the pretrial services matrix. So we'd be asking for his release. If you are inclined for a bond, then we'd be asking for no more than $5,000 bond.
Preliminary dates October the 3rd at 1:30. Defendant failed to appear earlier this month at a review hearing on those other domestic violence charges, which does not make him a good candidate for release. Bond is $7,500, pretrial services if the bond is posted. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence.
My daughter.
No contact with the alleged victim, no return to the victim's residence or workplace. And a behavioral health assessment and treatment. Right, thank you. Good evening. I'm Judge Shade and you, sir, are
Jesus Morales.
Mr. Morales. I have a number of things here for you.
Yes.
Current charges: possession of dangerous drugs, possession of narcotic drugs, and possession of paraphernalia. These are alleged to have occurred on or about September the 17th. Will appoint legal defender's office to represent you on these charges, and that either counsel wish to be heard on conditions.
Your Honor, due to the nature of the charges, we are requesting a smart hearing be set. Because of his risks for her pre-child's assessment and his prior felonies, we would ask for a bond, a $1,500 bond.
Your Honor, are you inclined to hold him on the misdemeanors?
Given his. Can you see the pile?
So given that, Your Honor, we would be asking for a $100 bond, mostly for time credit purposes. It looks like he has, although he has priors, he hasn't committed a new felony since 2009. He's been off of his sentence from 2016. He's 64 years old, Your Honor. He's here in a wheelchair today. So it's be asking for the $100 bond.
Preliminary hearing date's October the 3rd at 1:30. Smart court hearing is September 30th at 9. Bond is $1,000. Pretrial services, if the bond is posted, no alcohol or illegal drugs.
May I say something?
Then I additionally have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court for shoplifting.
What?
And failing to appear.
Gonna have to put it.
We'll appoint John Ellis to represent you on these charges.
Go ahead.
Set a court date for tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Your Honor, if you'd like to say something.
Okay.
The reason that I missed some of those court dates is because I've been in like 3 automobile accidents. I got run over by Suntran. It broke my back. That's why I'm in the wheelchair. Plus after that, about 3 weeks ago, I got run over by a pickup downtown. It's been to the point where they put steel bars in my leg, titanium in my wrist. I've broken my collarbone, my ribs, my leg, my arms. These past few months have been
These files
terrible.
go back 3 years. We've got.
Yes.
Okay. In addition to those matters, we also have city court charges, possession of paraphernalia, and possession of prescription only drugs alleged to have occurred today.
Today.
I have charges
Nothing in here.
from November 1st of 2021. Trespass at 3730 North Oracle with multiple failures to appear. Charges for criminal trespass at 3629 North Oracle. Goes back to December 30th of 2021. Multiple failures to appear. Charges from January 21st of 2023. Criminal trespass, 3602 North Oracle. Failures to appear. Charges for possession of paraphernalia. The bus bench at 3602 North Oracle on May the 2nd of 2023. Again, with failures to appear. Charges for criminal trespass at 3260 North Oracle on July 12th in possession of 2023 and possession of paraphernalia and failures to appear. Charges for criminal trespass, again at 3629 North Oracle on July 21st of 2023, along with possession of paraphernalia, and again, failures to appear in court. Charges for possession of paraphernalia and possession of prescription-only drugs on September 21st of last year, 3567 North Oracle, and again, failures to appear in court. Charges for possession of paraphernalia and criminal trespass at 3567 North Oracle on September 21st of last year. Charges for possession of paraphernalia, possession of prescription-only drugs, and criminal trespass on October 3rd of last year, 437 West Thurber. And additional charges for possession of paraphernalia on October 31st of last year at 3655 North Oracle and failures to appear in court. We'll appoint City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. $250 bond. You post the bond, it's October 23rd at 2 o'clock. If you haven't posted the bond, there's a video review right now set for October the 1st. Your attorney may move that based on the status of your felony. Thank you, Mr. Morales. I thought I took those 2 pages and just signed the last 2.
Hello.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are
Enoch Williams.
Mr. Williams, in a complaint charging with hindering prosecution. Will appoint legal defender's office to represent you on these charges, and if either counsel wish to be heard on conditions.
Yes, Your Honor. We concur with the state's request to release him to pretrial services. He has verified housing and employment and support with his father. He doesn't have priors. He doesn't have an active NVCA flag. He's a 1 on the FTA scale, 2 on the NCA scale, and only 20 years old. So we'd agree with that assessment to release him to pretrial.
Preliminary hearing is October the 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. You'll be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. You'll participate in monitoring and treatment under their supervision. You won't have any contact with your co-defendant or any potential co-defendants. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else that may have been involved in this alleged incident, you don't go back to the incident locations. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I suggest you not discuss it with anyone except your attorney. All right, thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good night.
That can go in shred too, because we've got a laminated copy now.
Good night.
No.